of us are Arjuns, caught in their own flesh, in their blood, in their tears, in their emotions, in their past. And being caught, we forget what our dharma is. As long as Arjun lives within us, we will continue to need Krishna. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is immortal. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 8, 9, 10 and 11. Fix thy mind on me only, place thy intellect in me, then thou shalt no doubt live in me hereafter. If thou art unable to fix thy mind steadily on me, then by abhyas yoga do thou seek to reach me, O Dhananjay. If also thou art unable to practice abhyas, be thou intent on doing actions for my sake. Even by doing actions for my sake, thou shalt attain perfection. If thou art unable to do even this, then taking refuge in me, abandon the fruit of all action, being self-controlled. And the question says, after speaking on the way to the manifest and the unmanifest, Sri Krishna here speaks of 4 ways of worshipping the manifest. So now, how to know which of these 4 ways is most suitable for a seeker? We shall first of all understand these 4 ways. They have been beautifully enumerated. The first way, the topmost one, is the sahaj way. Krishna prescribes no method there. He says, Arjun, just come to me and be seated in me, be affirmed in me pretty steadfastly. Just do it. Simply, obviously, instantly. That's the sahaj way. Do it directly, Arjun. If you really are sincere, and if you really have love for me, then do it right now, right here, right away. What are you waiting for? What do you require a method for? Nothing is needed. You have the intention. You really want it. You aren't fooling yourself. I am here. Come and be settled in me. And that's it. So that's the way for someone who is very dedicated, very sincere. Such a person requires no method, no training, no education. He just needs to be given an opportunity. He probably does not even need to be given an opportunity. He'll create an opportunity. So that's the first way. He's saying, simply let the mind move into the truth with ease. So this is the most subtle way possible of attaining Krishna. Simply let the mind move into Krishna. But as we said, one requires great sincerity and great love for this to be happening. Then he says, you see, if you cannot do that simply with ease, smoothly, absolutely frictionlessly, then the way of abhyas is for you. With abhyas, you will be able to do this. What kind of abhyas and practice is Krishna referring to? Krishna is saying the mind is conditioned to move towards objects and perceive only their surface or periphery or form. Develop the practice of penetrating further. Let truth be your practice. The moment you would look at something and you are in no position to not to look at things. Being embodied, you would look at things. So whenever you look at something, don't just rush into easy and cheap conclusions. Ask, what is really going on? What's happening? What am I experiencing? Where are my experiences coming from? What is this feeling? What is this thought? What is this reaction? To whom are these things? From where do they arise? From which center do they come? That has to be your practice. You could even say, if you want to put it in a more classical context, Krishna is asking here that Arjun practice koham, who am I? What's going on? Or you could put it in many different words, different ways. But Krishna is actually asking Arjun to be curious, attentive. Pay attention, Arjun. What's going on? The way you are configured, your biology does not really mandate you to be attentive. You can go about life even in inattention. You can continue to live even in inattention. Attention, therefore, is not really necessary or compulsory to continue living biologically. Even if you have no attention, you might still live for 70 years. Therefore, attention has to be practiced. It will not come naturally or biologically to you. It has to be a thing of practice. Biologically, all that comes to you without practice, without any kind of effort, is your biological tendencies. You have to understand this. Nobody ever says that you have to practice foolishness. Foolishness comes by default. But wisdom has to be practiced. Nobody said that you have to practice lust. Lust just comes. You might be a total fool and utter retard, and still you will find yourself getting sexually excited once you reach a particular age. Did you need some practice? No, you didn't. It just happened. But if you are to understand lust, if you are to cross over, if you are to be a master of your body, then it will require a lot of your practice. And that will necessarily and obviously tell you about your predicament. All the nonsense that happens to you happens on its own. You do not need to prepare for it. You do not need to ask for it. All the foolish things will just keep happening to you as if you have been made to experience and exhibit foolishness. But anything that is life-giving, worthy, exalted, beautiful, would not happen to you automatically by way of prakriti or by way of chance. Beauty and greatness cannot just come to you accidentally. They have to be earned, achieved by way of practice. You have to pay the price. That's what Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying, Arjun, go against your prakriti. And by going against your prakriti, you do not really need to resist it. It's not so much about resistance, it's much more about understanding. And that understanding is actually resistance. I'll tell you why. Prakriti does not want you to understand. Therefore, when you understand Prakriti, you are actually resisting Prakriti. Have you seen that in the moments when you are totally body identified, your power to understand totally diminishes? Have you seen? For example, in your moments of sexual excitement, is it possible for you to understand anything anymore? The whole atmosphere is erotic and you are terribly aroused. Where is your intelligence right now? Where is your comprehension? Where is your wisdom? You are a sheer animal, aren't you? That's what Prakriti wants you to be. Prakriti does not want you to understand. It merely wants you to participate in that primitive cycle. Therefore, when you understand Prakriti, you have actually resisted Prakriti. So you don't need to fight Prakriti. Rather, you can fight Prakriti only by understanding it. And understanding is a much more acceptable, decent and non-violent word. Simply say, I want to understand you. Tell life, I want to understand you. No, I'm not fighting you, I'm not spitting you, I'm not biting at you, I'm not tearing away. I just want to understand you. I just want to understand. That's the reason the moment you say, I want to understand, you will be offending many who want to relate to you only in the physical or prakritic way. Somebody comes to you and says, I love you, with a lot of sentiment and passion. And if you reply, I want to understand this, the other person would take offense, serious offense. See, you have expressed your delicate sentiments. I love you. And what did the other person reply with? I want to understand this. The whole flavor of the moment is gone. The dish has been spoiled. When the other person is saying, in a semi-erotic way, I love you, you're not supposed to talk of understanding. You're supposed to talk of drowning. Right? He wanted you to drown and you have drowned. To understand is to be rescued and saved from drowning. So, Prakriti does not want you to understand. But you must understand. And that's the practice Arjuna is advising. Arjuna is being advised by Krishna. Understand what is going on. Be vigilant. Ask. Don't just let your mind carry you away. Don't just let that wind blow you away. Pause. 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 I understand that the drift is pretty strong. I understand that the inner force is pretty overwhelming. It wants to overpower you. But there is no compulsion for you to be overpowered. Halt. Dig in your heels. Don't be swept aside. That's abhyas. Right? So, these are the two ways for the ones who live subtle lives. The first way was the sahaj way, the obvious way. Move easily into the ultimate. Move instantly into the ultimate. And the second way was the way of abhyas or practice. Then he realizes, Krishna, that, Arjun probably is not the right candidate to benefit from either of these two ways. So he opens up more possibilities. He says, fine, Arjun. If you cannot operate at the level of the subtle mind, operate at the level of gross action. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. That's the third way. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. What does he say here? If also you are unable to practice abhyas, be thou intent on doing actions for my sake. Even by doing actions for my sake, thou shalt attain perfection. Do the right thing. Act for my sake. Don't act for your own sake. Don't be a servant to foolishness or littleness. Whatsoever you are doing, do it for something as immense and as vast as Krishna. Right? So what he's actually saying is, dedicate your life to the right work. Dedicate your life to the right work. Do this, Arjun. If you cannot attain me purely at the mental level, then attain me by dedicating your life to the right work. Arjun probably is still not sending out the right wives to Krishna. So Krishna finally opens the last possibility to Arjun. And he says, all right, if you cannot do the right work, if you are still a slave to your patterns, and if you want to continue doing what you are already doing, at least dedicate the fruit of your work to me. The third way is actually choose the right job. Quit from your present job and choose the right job. What is the right job? The right job is the one in which you are working for a cause that is aligned to Krishna. That's the third way that Krishna is recommending Arjuna. Choose the right job. But Arjuna is saying, you see, there are so many in the people who are terribly afraid of quitting their jobs and enrolling into the right kind of job. So what is the fourth option? Krishna is finally opening up. He's saying, all right, you continue to be in your old rotten job, but at least dedicate your money to me. If you cannot quit your job, then you continue doing what you have been doing. Maybe that's what you are accustomed to. Maybe that's what your habit is now. Maybe you are so habituated to misery that you cannot give up on what you are doing. Then at least dedicate the fruits of your action to me, Arjun. That's the least that you can do for me and for yourself. Are you getting it? But that's the obviously least preferred way. Why continue to be in misery by doing the wrong kind of work? And it is no relief really to be doing the wrong kind of work and then dedicating the fruit of that work to Krishna. It is a very minimal kind of compensation that you can offer yourself. Not really advisable. It is far better if you choose the first way, and if that's too much for you, then the second option or the third option. The fourth one is only for the ones with the least developed and the least loving consciousness. Getting it? Now the questioner is asking, how do I know which of these four ways is for a particular person? For every person, the right way is the first way. Go for the first way. Now if you cannot bring yourself to meet the demands of the first way, then try the second way. And remember that even in trying the second way, you have lost out on something. And be determined that at least the second way you would ensure it works out for you. And if somehow you are so unlucky or so very lacking in determination that even the second way cannot work out for you, then only try the third way. But when you move to the third way, you should be moving with a heavy heart. You should be knowing that you are already losing out on the best of the opportunities. You've already lost out on the best two. Now you have the third one. There is no way you can afford to lose out even on this one. And you should not lose out on the third one. I do not see how someone would want to reach Krishna using the fourth way. The fourth way, I repeat, is only for terribly unlucky people.